7 lost cities that remain a mystery to this day. What if I told you that there are entire cities that have simply vanished from the face of the earth, leaving only legends and archaeological fragments as proof of their existence? Cities that once housed thousands of people with impressive architecture, sophisticated cultures, and advanced technologies for their time, but today are merely names whispered in history books and mystery documentaries. Since childhood, I've always been fascinated by these stories of lost civilizations. There's something deeply disturbing yet magnetic about places that existed, prospered, and then simply disappeared, as if the earth itself had decided to swallow them, hiding their secrets in the depths of time. Today, we're embarking on a journey through 7 of these lost cities that continue to challenge archaeologists, historians, and explorers around the world. Some have been partially found, others remain completely hidden, but all share something in common: mysteries that modern science still hasn't been able to fully unravel. Prepare yourself, because some of these stories will make you question everything you think you know about ancient civilizations. And if you're passionate about historical mysteries like I am, make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications, because we have much more incredible content coming about humanity's most fascinating enigmas. We begin with the most famous of all lost cities, Atlantis. First mentioned by Plato in his dialogues to Timaeus and Critias around 360 BC, Atlantis was described as a circular island situated beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we know today as the Strait of Gibraltar. According to Plato, this civilization was technologically advanced, militarily powerful, and incredibly wealthy. Its inhabitants mastered metallurgy, built impressive concentric canals, and possessed a navy that rivaled any ancient naval force. But here's what intrigues me most. Plato claimed that Atlantis existed 9,000 years before his time, which would place approximately in 9,600 BC. For centuries, historians have debated whether Atlantis was merely a philosophical allegory created by Plato to illustrate the dangers of pride and decadence, or if there really existed a civilization with these characteristics. What makes everything more mysterious is that Plato always insisted the story was true, based on ancient Egyptian records obtained by Solon. In the last 150 years, more than 50 locations have been proposed for Atlantis, from the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea, including theories placing it in Antarctica or even South America. Each new archaeological discovery seems to add more pieces to the puzzle, but never enough to definitively solve the mystery. Modern technology has brought new possibilities. Satellite images have revealed intriguing underwater structures. High-resolution sonar has mapped anomalies on the ocean floor, and underwater archaeology has discovered ruins that challenge our conceptions about ancient civilizations. But Atlantis remains elusive, like a mirage that moves away whenever we think we're close to the truth. The second city on our list is El Dorado, which technically began not as a city, but as a person, El Hombre Dorado, the Golden Man. The legend originated with the Muisca tribe, which inhabited the highlands of present-day Colombia. In sacred rituals performed at Lake Guatavita, the new chief was covered with gold dust and offered treasures to the lake god. But as the legend spread among Spanish conquistadors, El Dorado evolved from a ritual to a place, an entire city made of gold, where streets were paved with a precious metal and buildings gleamed under the tropical sun. This transformation of the legend is fascinating from a psychological perspective. It reveals how our deepest desires can distort reality until creating myths powerful enough to motivate expeditions that cost thousands of lives. For more than 3 centuries, European explorers penetrated the Amazon jungles and Andean highlands searching for this mythical city. Sir Walter Raleigh organized 2 costly expeditions to Guyana, convinced he would find El Dorado in the headwaters of the Orinoco River. Gonzalo Pizarro crossed the Peruvian Andes with 4,000 men in 1541, losing almost all in the fruitless journey. What makes El Dorado particularly intriguing is that, although the Golden City was never found, expeditions searching for it reveal real and impressive civilizations. The recent discovery of megalithic structures in the Amazon, revealed by LIDAR technology, suggests that the jungle harbored civilizations much more complex than we imagined. Some modern researchers propose that El Dorado may have been a distorted interpretation of real cities that existed in the region. The discovery of sophisticated aquaculture systems, agricultural terraces, and pre-Columbian urban centers in the Amazon indicates that this region was home to advanced civilizations that may have inspired the Golden Legends. Our third lost city takes us to the vast Pacific Ocean and one of archaeology's most controversial theories, the existence of Lemuria, an entire continent that supposedly existed between Madagascar, India, and Southeast Asia. The theory of Lemuria was born in the 19th century when English zoologist Philip Sclater tried to explain the distribution of fossilized lemurs. He noticed that these primates appeared in Madagascar and India, but not in Africa or the Middle East. To explain this peculiar distribution, Sclater proposed that a lost continent had connected these regions before sinking into the ocean. Although the theory of continental drift later explained these species distributions, the idea of Lemuria captured popular imagination and evolved into something much grander. Esoteric writers of the 19th and 20th centuries developed elaborate descriptions of an advanced Lemurian civilization with crystalline technologies, psychic powers, and superior spiritual wisdom. What fascinates me about Lemuria is how it illustrates a tension between science and speculation. On one hand, we have real geological evidence that sea levels were once much lower, exposing vast areas of land that are now submerged. Land bridges really existed, connecting islands and continents, allowing species and possibly ancient peoples to migrate. On the other hand, fantastic descriptions of Lemuria go far beyond what archaeological evidence can sustain. However, recent discoveries of underwater structures in the Indian and Pacific Oceans continue to fuel speculation. The underwater city of Yonaguni, Japan, with its apparently artificial structures, and submerged megaliths near India suggests that coastal civilizations really existed in areas now underwater. From the ocean, we move to the icy heights of the Himalayas, where supposedly hides Shambhala, the mythical kingdom that captured the imagination of explorers, mystics, and even 20th century political regimes. Shambhala first appears in 10th century Buddhist literature, described as a hidden kingdom surrounded by snow-covered mountains, where an enlightened society preserves pure spiritual teachings. According to Tibetan traditions, Shambhala is not just a physical place, but also a state of consciousness, accessible only to those who have achieved a certain level of spiritual development. What makes Shambhala particularly fascinating is its geographical precision. Ancient texts provide detailed directions, distances, and geographical landmarks that supposedly would lead to this hidden kingdom. These texts describe a journey north of the Himalayas, through secret passages and hidden valleys, to a land of abundance where spiritual technology reached its apex. During the 20th century, Shambhala attracted the attention of surprising historical figures. Nicholas Rurick's expedition in the 1920s searched for evidence of the kingdom in the Altai and Tibet. More sinisterly, Heinrich Himmler and other Nazi leaders financed expeditions to Tibet, obsessed with the idea that Shambhala guarded secrets of ancestral power and lost technologies. The scientific search for Shambhala has revealed genuine discoveries about ancient Tibetan civilizations. Ruins of monasteries and cities in Tibet's most remote regions suggest that sophisticated societies really existed at extreme altitudes and climatic conditions. The discovery of tunnels and underground complexes in the Himalayas adds an intriguing dimension to the possibility that communities took refuge in truly hidden locations. Our fifth lost city transports us to a fascinating chapter of Viking history, the discovery and temporary colonization of North America 5 centuries before Columbus. Vinland appears in Icelandic sagas, particularly in the Saga of the Greenlanders and the Saga of Eric the Red, as a land of abundance discovered by Leif Erikson around 1000 AD. The descriptions are remarkably specific: a region with salmon, wild vines, abundant timber, and winters mild enough for cattle to graze outdoors. For centuries, historians debated whether these sagas were history or fiction. The question was definitively resolved in 1960 when archaeologists Helga and Stein Ingstad discovered the remains of a Viking settlement at Lance Aux Meadows in Newfoundland. This discovery confirmed that Vikings really established colonies in North America. But here's the mystery. Lance Aux Meadows doesn't exactly correspond to the descriptions of Vinland in the sagas. The site is too cold for vines, doesn't have abundant salmon, and winter is too harsh for outdoor grazing. This suggests that Vikings explored far beyond Newfoundland, establishing other settlements that haven't yet been discovered. Intriguing evidence continues to appear along North America's east coast. Stones with runic inscriptions iron artifacts of Viking design, and even stone structures resembling Norse constructions have been found from Canada to the American Midwest. Although many of these finds are controversial, they suggest that Viking presence in America may have been more extensive than official archaeology recognizes. The search for other Viking cities in America represents one of today's most exciting archaeological mysteries. With new detection technologies and renewed interest in Viking exploration, it's possible we'll soon discover more evidence of this pre-Columbian European presence in the New World. Our sixth lost city is intimately linked to one of modern exploration's most enigmatic figures, British Colonel Percy Harrison Fawcett. In 1925, Fawcett disappeared in the Brazilian Amazon jungle while searching for an ancient city he simply called Z. Fawcett wasn't an amateur adventurer. He was an experienced surveyor, member of the Royal Geographical Society, who had mapped thousands of kilometers of unexplored territory in South America. His previous expeditions yielded important geographical discoveries and respected scientific reports. When Fawcett spoke about Z, his colleagues paid attention. Fawcett's obsession with Z began in 1920 when he obtained an 18th century document from the National Library of Rio de Janeiro. The manuscript, supposedly written by a Portuguese bandeirante, described the discovery of a ruined city in Brazil's interior with stone buildings, hieroglyphs, and evidence of sophisticated civilization. Fawcett believed the city was part of a network of ancient urban centers that proved the existence of an advanced Amazonian civilization. What makes Fawcett's search for Z particularly relevant today is that recent archaeological discoveries have validated many of his theories. LIDAR technology has revealed megalithic structures, transportation systems, and evidence of pre-Columbian urban centers in locations corresponding to areas Fawcett was exploring. The Mato Grosso region, where Fawcett disappeared, has proven to be an archaeological hotspot. Discoveries of sophisticated ceramics, monumental earthworks, and evidence of large-scale forest management suggest that the Amazon harbored civilizations much more complex than imagined in Fawcett's time. Fawcett's fate remains a mystery. More than 100 expeditions were organized to find him, some resulting in more disappearances. Theories about his death range from attacks by hostile tribes to murder by gold miners. But the real tragedy isn't Fawcett's disappearance. It's that he may have been right about Z, but died before he could prove it. Our seventh and final lost city takes us to the heart of the Arabian Peninsula, where supposedly hides Iram the Pillars, a city mentioned in the Quran and various ancient Arabian traditions. Iram is described as a city of unparalleled wealth and architecture, built with gigantic pillars that had no equivalent anywhere on earth. According to Islamic traditions, Iram was built by King Ad, descendant of Noah, but was destroyed by Allah due to the arrogance and piety of its inhabitants, being swallowed by desert sands. For centuries, Iram was considered purely mythological,